Hey, what's happening guys, it's Joan, and today I'm here with a new video for you guys. It's gonna be a new series, and it is on the game that is amazing known as Dark Souls 2. This is gonna be my ultimate survival guide, so for those who are struggling to finish it, because it is quite a difficult game, this is for you, so let's go.
Perhaps you've seen it, maybe in a dream, a murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything once branded, the symbol of the curse, an augur of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drangleic. Perhaps you're familiar? No, how could you be? But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why. Like a moth drawn to a flame, your wings will burn in anguish, time after time. For that is your fate, the fate of the cursed.
So here we are, like many other undead before us, drawn into this black pit and falling into the area that leads us to Drangleic. And I say drawn really because if you look at the cutscene, your eyes like explode and you kind of like, you're hesitant at first and then you just kind of go, screw it, and you jump in. But anyway, here we are getting up because apparently that massive fall didn't kill us. Like, it probably actually did kill us, but because we're an undead and we go slightly more hollow, we survived it because we can't actually die. But anyway, this is the first area in the game, things betwixt. That's what this is the one. This is the one we'll be covering in this episode. That was a tongue twister. So you're gonna start off in this grassy area here with this like monolith place, which is where you fall down. And the first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to head up the ramp over to my left there. And when you head up here, there will be like small dog creatures in the long grass. You don't want to try and punch these, because if you do, they will gang up on you and they will absolutely destroy your health, since you have, as you can see, little to no health and you have no armor and no weapons. So yeah, you don't want to do that. But yeah, first thing you want to do when you get into the grassy area is head over to the right, and there will be a rusted coin behind these rocks. This increases your luck. I'm going to assume luck is like getting item drops and things. Then after that, you're going to head up through this little passageway, and to your left there is a bush. Now past this bush is a special enemy, which we're not going to face yet, but we will come back to him later. We're going to head across this bridge, and head to the left, and down this little lip here, hidden by some trees, is another cool item. It is a small, smooth and silky stone. Now these are very, very cool items, because you can trade them to the bird's nest in this area, and they can give you some really cool items. But after you grab that, you're going to head up to the stairs, and we're going to head into the next cutscene, so enjoy.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse.
It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow. Yes, you'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name? At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy.
Take a closer look.
Who do you think it's supposed to be?
Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
So after that cutscene, we arrive in the character creation screen. Now, in this, I'm going to describe all the classes and then the gifts. So the first class I'm going to describe is the warrior. Now, the warrior is a battle-scarred warrior, high strength and dexterity, and skilled with weapons. Now, this is your melee class. It starts with a decent armor, a decent shield, and a broken straight. So it isn't the best, but he does have high strength and dexterity, so you can use any weapons, and he's especially good with quality weapons. Now, moving on to the next class, which is the knight. Now, the knight is your tank. He starts with increased health and also a nice bit of strength. He has a really good set of armor from the get-go, the Falconeer set, and he also has a broadsword, which is another decent weapon. Now, this guy loves to have big armor, lots of strength, and lots of health, so he's a really good character, and he's one of my favorites. Now on to the next class, which isn't one of my favorites, but it's still pretty cool, the swordsman. Now, he's all about dexterity, really, really high dexterity, dual weapons from the get-go. He's a scimitar and a short sword, okay-ish armor, not the best. He also doesn't have much health, and not a lot of strength, but he is all about dexterity and quick attack. Now on to another one of my favorite characters, the bandit. He starts with an axe, decent armor, and a bow, which is also really awesome. He's also another dexterity class. He is quite high dexterity, but he also has decent health and decent strength from the get-go. He's one of my favorites, and he's one of the best to pick if you want to make a quality build. Now, moving on to the next character, which is the Cleric. Now, the Cleric is all about faith. He uses spells like Lightning Spear, Healing, Great Heal, Great Lightning Spear. He's all about that stuff. He doesn't have much strength or health from the get-go, but he also starts with a really nice weapon, the Mace, and not much armor, but he is good at range using those Lightning Spears, which is just so deadly in battle, and they rip apart bosses. Now, on to the Sorcerer. He's basically the Cleric, but with intelligence. He starts off with Soul Spear, a hell of a lot of intelligence, means you can use cool things like Crystal Soul Spear, Crystal Mass, and Soul Greatsword, so he's also a cool class. Now on to one of my most interesting classes, which I'm actually going to pick for this. It is the Explorer. Now the Explorer is quite a weird class. He's like the Deprived, in the fact that he's not good with really anything, but he starts with an okayish set of armor, which is really good for finding items, a dagger, a load of items such as the Ferrous Lockstone, Repair Powder, the Aromatic Ooze, and a really decent ring. So he's actually a really interesting character because he's really good at like healing fast, rolling fast. He's good if you're really good at dodging, and he's a really interesting character. And I don't see many people picking him, so he's going to be my pick for this playthrough. Now moving on to the final class, it is the Deprived. He's the naked guy. He's not good at anything. He's soul level 1, which means all of his stats are 6 base. So you pick this guy, it's like picking hard mode, because you don't get any armor, any weapons. You have to find it all, or buy it, or purchase it. But he is really good if you really want to specialize in certain things like dexterity or strength, because he has no other base stats. So that means all of his stats are cheap right from the start. So anyway, I'm going to pick the Explorer, because obviously he's an interesting class and I like him. So now moving on to the gifts. Now the first gift is the Life Ring. The Life Ring is a small little ring which gives you a small boost in health. I don't really suggest picking this up because even though it's decent from the get-go, so you can use it if you're struggling with the beginning, you can also find it really early on in one of the first areas you go to in a chest, along with a really other nice ring, the Chloranthy Ring, which I'll get into when we get to it. But the Life Ring is decent, but I wouldn't suggest it because you can actually find it really early on. I actually don't know if they stack. If they stack, leave it in the comments, but I guess you could have 2 to give you more health. But anyway, on to the next gift, and that is the Human Effigy. The Human Effigy is basically humanity. You get one from the get-go, and you get to heal and turn into a human, but I don't really suggest it because in the first area, literally where we're standing right now, there is one in a chest upstairs. So there's not really much point in picking it. So on to the next item, which is a cool item, is the Healing Wares. You get a Life Gem, Poison Moss, Radiant Life Gem, and an Old Radiant Life Gem. But all the 3 types of Life Gems, they're just slightly more powerful versions of each other. So if you're struggling with the early areas in the game, it's a good thing to pick because it's a lot of healing items, so you won't have to buy them from the store and waste your souls. So on to the next gift, which is the Homeward Bone. And the Homeward Bone is, when you're in trouble, you can use it and teleport back to the last bonfire you're in. So if you're trapped or if you're about to die in a boss fight, you can teleport back without actually dying. Now again, this is a cool thing, but I don't suggest picking it because you can actually find it in the second area in a place you get 5 of them, and I've never really actually used all of them. So on to the next item, and it is actually a really cool item. It is the Seed of the Tree of Giants. Now by its description, it basically tells you nothing about it, but what it does is, which is really cool, when you get invaded by another player, which is like the multiplayer in this game, you can use this item, and what it does is all of the AI enemies in the area, so if you're in a really tough area, they'll all attack the enemy invader, so you can actually use them as like an army of evil to kill the invader before he actually manages to get you. So it's a really cool item. You can actually get them, but they're actually quite hard to find. But anyway, that's a cool item. So on to the next item, which is the Bonfire Aesthetic. What this does is you tuck it in a bonfire, and it increases the area into the next new game level. So it's really cool for farming if you run out of enemies, and also fighting tougher enemies. So it's quite a cool item, and it's one of the ones I suggest picking. But the next one, the Petrified Something, is the one I suggest picking out of all of them. It's basically like a super smooth silky stone, and if you give it to the crows in the first area of things Betwixt, which we're in now, it can get a chance to give you really cool items such as the Old Whip, the Demon Great Hammer, really high up like Twinkling Titanite or Titanite slabs, and it's really cool item. It also has a healing effect, but I'm not sure you really want to waste it on that because they're really hard to find, and you just really want to get those awesome items. You can also get the Dancing Spear from the first Dark Souls. So it's a really generally cool item, and it's going to be the gift I picked because I want to see if I can get some cool items. Anyway, the rest of the stuff in the character creation I'm not going to use because I'm not really bothered with my character's appearance. So I'm just going to head in and finalize it and head into the next cutscene. So see you guys later.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse.
You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom.
But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going home. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
So we're back after that cutscene where we're told we're gonna die no matter what we do. So yeah, what a great way to start the game. Anyway, head up the stairs behind the lady holding the bowl, and there will be a chest up here. And in this chest is the reason why you don't pick a human effigy to start the game, because there's one right in here. So that completely eliminates that first gift. Also, I apologize for if I see me continually bringing up the emotions menu. I kind of forgot what the menu button was to bring up the inventory, so I continually pressed that a couple of times in this video. So I apologize for that in advance, but I'm just showing you here all the items the Explorer starts with, including that ring which increases magic defense, and you also still get the ruined imported armor just in case you start with a prize. You actually do get a set of armor from the start. But anyway, if you talk to that woman there I just ran up to, she will tell you a bit of backstory about how these are firekeepers who have all come together, and when firekeepers come together, bad things happen basically. But anyway, now that we've now got our equipment and armor, we're gonna head into that special area to meet our friend I was telling you guys about. Now this guy, as you can tell by the tracks, is a pretty big guy. And he is, I will say, the mini-boss. There's 3 of them in this area. They're the mini-boss of this area, since this area doesn't actually have a main boss fight. And it is, there he is, the Ogre. Now, the Ogre has many special things about him in his attack plan, so let's check it out. So the Ogre, he has a one-hit grab attack, which will actually one-hit kill you. He has 2 combo attacks. One causes him to fall over, the other one he just swings normally and stops. Now, if you want to actually beat him in a melee fight, he is pretty... He's alright to fight. He's got some, like, his range is pretty ridiculous. You won't believe how long range he is. But in using range attacks such as throwing knives, bows and arrows, he is really easy to beat, this one. And the other 2 as well, but especially this one, because if you just run back into the bush, he loses aggro on you and just runs straight back up to the top of the area. So anyway, let's get into the fight. So we're going to start off and we're going to use these 8 witching urns the Explorer starts with to basically just chip away at his health, because he has quite a lot of health. That's the one-hit grab move. If he hits you with that, you're dead, so make sure whatever you do, that does not hit you. I suggest if you're going to roll out the way, roll back, because if you roll to the sides, he always seems to get me when I try and roll to the sides, so roll back. So if you're using my technique and using my class, just continually backtrack down this thing. If you're using any other things with range, like the Sorcerer or the Bandit, just backtrack down this thing as well and shoot him. Now, see, if you go into the bush, he loses aggro, so we're going to head back up to him now after a short break and carry on throwing witching urns at him. And now if you go back, he'll be standing right back in that area again, so you continue to throw witching urns at him and he will eventually go down. I mean, he does take quite a lot of hits. I think with 8 witching urns, you just have enough to kill him. But the most, you don't have to resort to the daggers. I don't think the dagger will do any damage to him because he has a ton of health. Now in melee combat, and this is the end as he drops. And this is the last one. Boom! Down. So yeah, after you're done doing your little victory rave like I was then, you will notice he drops a really cool item, which is the stone ring. Now the stone ring is really cool because it actually increases the amount of poise damage you do. Now if you don't know what poise is basically when you hit an enemy with a melee weapon, it has a chance to stagger them. So it's a really cool item to get. So now onto the melee fighter. I've actually cut down the beginning of this fight because fighting him the melee way takes a lot longer, because basically what you want to do is that's the combo where he falls over, and you want to try and trigger that. You want to continually keep baiting him till eventually he does the fall over attack and just hit him with the sword. And you'll see in this bit here, look at his range now when he hits me. Right? Now I don't think that should hit me, but he still manages to hit me. His range is crazy. But yeah, all you want to do is basically keep baiting his fall over attack, and the reason it takes a little bit long because he sometimes doesn't do it, and also you got to be very careful with melee if he of the grab attack. You just want to keep baiting the attack over and over again. That's his other combo move right there. You can also do single swipes where you'll just swing once and stop. And once you baited it enough times, he will eventually, you just chip away at his health. I think it does about 100 and something damage, the broadsword with strong attack. Unfortunately, I kind of fail there and miss. Now, if he gets too close, unlock, run into the bush, give him time to de-aggro off you and run back up the hill, and then just run back up and chip away at him. And as you see, I actually used quite a lot of life gems because I have got hit quite a lot of times. Didn't have the greatest fight against him in this little fight here, but I did as well. But I do manage to kill him and I don't get killed by him. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to have 2 playthroughs to show you the multiple ways of killing enemies with melee and range. So my explorer is going to be my majority is going to be range attack, although I am still going to have some melee. And this knight character here is going to be my melee class I'm going to use through the game to show you guys every possible way of killing the bosses and the tough enemies. So again, yeah, just keep baiting him, keep attacking him, keep chipping away at his health. There is another thing you can do as well. If you manage to get behind him, you can bait his attack, which is like he does a little sit down, and I don't really know it's an attack. That actually can hurt you a lot though, so be careful with it. But yeah, you just want to keep baiting that attack over and over again, and you can get him in like a chain where he just keeps sitting down and he gets stuck. But I don't really recommend it because when he gets up, he spins around very fast, as you can see when the fall down move. So you doing the other bait is quite risky. He can actually turn up and just 3-hit you and kill you because he does a lot of damage to you at this early stage in the game. So there we go, that's him killed in the melee. And let's head back to the explorer character. Now if you head up this mound here, what he was staring at, there is an item that the ogre, when you saw him initially, was looking at, and it is some gold pine resin. Now gold pine resin is a really cool item, and it also helps in one of the earlier areas of the game to kill the bosses because they hit lightning. And what it does is basically it puts lightning on your swords and melee weapons to actually cause lightning damage. Now if you come out this area here and stab this cart a few times, there will be item behind it and you get the Sword of Lost and then the torch. Now torches are really cool in this game because you don't really need them, but what they do is they light up the air, and you can also light these little like planet things, like kind of stacks with like sticks in them, so they create like a fire hotspot, so you can relight a torch or just use it to light up an area. Now there's only really 2 areas in the game where you actually need to use a torch, which is the undead wharf, I think it is, with the boat, and the pit, because they are, one's really dark and you're probably going to fall off and die unless you turn up your brightness really high, and the other one has enemies which are actually scared of fire. So in those areas the torch is needed, but in this area I just like it because I think it's really cool effect, just lighting up the area. But as you go through this like bridge bit, there are 3 fog gates, 2 on the left, 1 on the right. There's no bosses in here, so you don't have to worry about a boss. Basically what they do is if you read these little gravestones to your right, my right and left, which I'm ignoring because I don't really need to read them, they're like tutorials which tell you cool stuff like attacking, rolling, and all the basics you need to know of the game. Which is why I don't actually recommend you fight the ogre first if you've never played the game before. Or if you are using a ranged character and you never played the game before, you can just do it anyway because you can basically cheese him. So yeah, you just head through this area, cutting down these enemies. What I do like about the enemies is they're dressed up like you were when you first got up from the monolith, which kind of makes it look like these are actually like undead that have come to this area but failed this first test, basically, to live. So it's a cool little detail I like. This guy here, you basically got a backstab, and with the dagger, you do a lot of critical hit damage from backstabs and parries. So it is a cool item. Now over there are 2 more ogres. Now this is what I suggest waiting to come back to, because with melee you can kind of cheese them by getting them trapped in a doorway, but it takes a long time. But with range you can also do that, and I actually don't have any more range attack though, so I'm not going to dagger them to death. I'm going to wait till I get another form of range attack, which could be either sorcery or a bow and arrow, because I haven't decided yet. And I will come back and fight them a later time, because if you head back to I think her name's Millibeth, the woman in the area with the firekeepers, she actually gives you a little present, which is a wooden ladle, a completely useless weapon, but a cool little item if you've managed to beat the 3 ogres. So you can head back to her and get that item later on when you've beaten the 3 ogres. Anyway, for now, you just want to keep heading through. I'm just lighting all these stuff because I think it looks cool. With the torches, 1 torch is 5 minutes. So, as you can see, I don't exactly have much time left. And I just stop here and admire how pretty this game actually kind of looks. I mean, it's not the nicest looking game, but I like admiring what it does. It's a really nice looking game. I imagine on PC it's a lot better because I'm obviously playing on console. On PC it probably looks a lot better with mods and such. But in this next area you want to drag this guy out here so you don't get shot with a bow. And then once you just stabbed him to death, you want to head through into the next area where the bow is. And just, as you did the last time, roll out the way of these shots. And when you get close enough, he will pull out his sword and try and attack you. But if you're quick enough, you can just stab him to death anyway. And he dies. So it's a pretty easy area, this. Over to your left will be a life gem, which will obviously stack up on your supplies of life gems. Luckily, the explorer starts with a ton of life gems from the start. I think he starts with 20 or possibly 22-ish. I'm not sure. He starts with roughly 20. So you want to head through this fog gate here. And this is where we meet some cool friends. To the left is the crow's nest with Snuggly the crow and his friend. I'm not sure what his friend's name is. But you want to go there, you want to kick down the ladder first. Otherwise you can't get back up here later on without having to go through that whole area again. So these are quite annoying, I'm not going to lie, because they repeat the same thing over and over again. So basically what you want to do when you get to here, you want to not bring up your motion menus, you want to bring up your inventory. And you will see the small and smooth silky stone. I want to show you is you do not do discard, because that will actually delete the item. You want to do leave, and when you leave it in there, you'll see it's on the floor. You can also leave the petrified something, which I'll leave in a minute. They'll go, yes, nice, smooth, blah blah blah, and you'll get an item. I believe I get a titanite shard. I'm not sure. I think it's a titanite shard. No, it's an amber herb. This is to restore spell uses. Now with the petrified something, I get a titanite chunk or a slab, one of the two. That's actually kind of one of the worst things you can get with it, because I was hoping for like a demon great hammer or a trident or maybe even an old whip, because that would be really really powerful weapons to get from the start of the game. But unluckily I get the titanite, which is decent because that means I don't have to go looking for it when I want to upgrade weapons. So once you finish speaking to the crows, you want to head over to oh, I'm just showing off the titanite slab here. It's I think it's the final one to get you up to plus 15 or plus 10, I'm not sure. You want to head over to the right here, and there'll be a little drop down platform with something to light, but there will be a soul of a proud, I think it's a soul of a proud knight or soul of an undead knight. Soul of a nameless soldier, actually. And what it does is it gives you a load of souls, and it's a lot more than the soul of the lost undead and stuff like that. It basically, they stack, I think it's soul of the lost undead, a weak soul, I'm not sure what it's called, it's lower than that, lower than the lost undead. There's the soul of the nameless soldier, and the soul of the knight, and the soul of the hero. They're like the stacks, and they give you loads of souls when you use them. They're like consumables, which give you more souls. Since you've gone through this area here, you just want to basically do a plunging attack on that guy. Sorry, not plunge attack, what am I talking about? You just want to basically stab those two guys to death, do a little running jump over here, and the jump, you got to be careful with on this game, because it can screw you over a lot. Trust me on that. I know that there's more amber herbs over this little jump thing, and you got to make sure you line it up right, because it's very easy to slip off here, I'm not going to lie. Because they did actually change the buttons, and it did actually kill me the first time. I ran and pressed B, and I didn't read the gravestone, and it's actually running and clicking the left stick. And they changed it, and I just kind of rolled off the edge and died. But yeah, when I head up this ladder here, you can actually hold B to sprint and climb. I don't know why I didn't do it, but yeah, you can do that. When you head up here, all these gravestones here are basically telling you how to do a plunging attack. You head over here and look down, there will be a guy. You just run off the edge, hold right bumper, and you do a plunging attack. I didn't do much damage because obviously I'm only using a dagger, so it doesn't do as much damage as maybe a broadsword would do. So my melee character, I think, would one-hit that guy if I did a plunging attack. So, gotta be careful here because there's these two guys here and they can actually get some hits on you. But as you can see with the armor, and because this is the start of the game, they're all using broken straight swords, they don't actually do that much damage. So it's quite a useful thing. So if you head into this to the right here, in this room is quite a special item. It is a cracked red eye orb. Now, a cracked red eye orb, and I'm surprised they give you one this early, is basically the item you use to invade another player's game and kill them. And if you kill them, you get a load of souls and cool things. Now, as you can see here, it is here's a description of it. And if you defeat the master of this world, you get a token of spite, which you can use to join the Covenant of Blood later on, which is a cool covenant, and you can get a lot of perks from it. But anyway, on to the next fog gate area after this bridge bit, and it is the final fog gate, and it is an annoying one, to put it that way, because I almost die on this swap, because there is a drop down area which takes out a chunk of health, and if you don't time it right, you'll actually get beaten to death by the guy next to you. So when you want to head through this fog gate, there will be a tree which you can kick down, and an archer. Now what I suggest doing from here is heading to the right and hugging this tree here, waiting for the archer to shoot, and when he shoots he'll hit the tree. So what you do then is you kick the tree down, and you can actually walk up it while it's falling down. but I would suggest doing that just in case you fall off. You want to dodge his next arrow, run across the tree, maybe wait for him to shoot his next arrow, or he'll actually pull out his sword. I don't know sure how close you have to get. Then you have to stab him to death, and it's all fun and games, basically. And then when you head over to this hole behind me, I'm not sure why I'm looking at the fog gate, but yeah, head to the hole over here, and there will be a guy hanging down there. Now, I actually try and do a plunging attack on him here, but I fail miserably, and I almost paid the massive price for it. He hits me, taking out a chunk of my health, and I always get shot with the arrow. And as you can see, I'm on a tiny, tiny bit of health here. But luckily, I just stay calm, circle around a bit, wait for the archer to shoot his arrows. And I go over to this guy, and I have enough time here to quickly get the stab move on. I quickly roll out the way to dodge his next arrow, and then I basically hug the wall over here so he can't shoot me, pop a life gem, dodge this guy's next shot, then climb up the ladder. So I'm basically okay there. But as you can see, it is very easy to die in this area. People underestimate how easy it is to actually die in this initial bit, especially if you like are deprived or something like that, because you don't have much health, and you couldn't possibly die very easily in that area. So head for this next fog gate, and straight away to the left is another little undead guy. He's going to come straight at you, swing for you, just dodge 2 attacks, and stab to death with a dagger. Now, on the right is 2 ogres. Now, and there's also a special thing there, which I'm not going to show in this episode, because we're going to draw it to a close, and I'll come back to it later on. But anyway, guys, that's been it. This has been the area of things Betwixt. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that cool stuff. And I will see you guys in the next episode of the Dark Souls walkthrough and ultimate guides. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
Ready, aim, fire.